into the Shamima Begum case. Has the Home Secretary done the right thing?
Well, let me make it very clear. I've always said that the first duty of the state is to protect its citizens. And also, I was the one who pushed the government to use the correct terminology, Daesh, to defeat the idea, the ideology, the appeal, which is sucking at hundreds of British individuals to fight for this poison ideology entity in Syria and Iraq. So I've always taken a very tough approach. But our approach has to then also take into account what we, the United Kingdom, stand for. International rule of law, domestic law. And we also work with international partners, say we want an international-based rule of governance. And in line with that, I think the Home Secretary on this one, who I have a huge amount of respect for, has got it wrong. I think this decision that I've seen, what's clearly is happening here is that you've had a populist decision to appeal to certain quarters. And what will happen technically, because what the Home Secretary has said, and he said yesterday when I asked him questions in Parliament, he said, look, we will never make anyone stateless. But the reality is, by revoking it, knowing that Bangladesh will say no, because the individual concerned is a UK citizen, she's grown up in the United Kingdom, so on that basis what will happen is in 5 months' time, he will say, hey, I acted tough, but then the court will overturn it, which will be wrong.
Against them. When you say he's trying to appeal to certain quarters, who do you mean?
Well, look, what I'm saying is that sometimes politicians, or political parties, and across the pond as well, they want to seem to be tough, but the reality is they don't take into account the ground reality and doing the right thing. And in this case, it may seem unpopular because looking at the video footage of the individual concerned, what she said was completely abhorrent, unacceptable. Morally, I would say don't take her back. But ethically, I've got to then see what United Kingdom stands for. International rule of law, bring her back, and accordance to our international rule of law, prosecute her and give the firmest possible evidence if she's convicted according to our legal system.
Is it this particular case you object to? Because we have seen a spike in citizenship stripping. In 2017 alone, 104 people had their British citizenship removed. So is it this case alone, or do you think there's a broader problem?
Well, what I would say is looking at this issue has raised the point about foreign fighters. And you've asked me to comment about that. 900 had gone off to Syria, about 450 have come back. And the question is, how many of those have had their citizenship stripped, and how do they compare with this individual case? I would say on this individual case, what should happen, and you should speak to Peter Newman, the world expert based at King's College London, individuals should be brought back on priority. Those who give evidence against their fellow fighters, and therefore assist the United Kingdom in bringing those others to account. Bring them back, if not, hold them out under exclusion orders for 2 years. Same with this individual case. And then the issue is you slowly bring them back, in contrast to France. They're taking back 120 all at once. That is wrong, because that poses a real security risk. So I would say, for me, that it should be a last resort, but do it when it's really necessary in accordance to what's right.
There are some British people who have parents from an immigrant background or hold dual nationality who say that this case has made them feel like second-class British citizens. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, let me make it very clear. I voted for this legislation in 2014. I have real reservations in relation to how this has now been put into practice. Well, there are cases where you have individuals who lived in both countries, and therefore one could then say they need to go back if they satisfy the criteria. But in this case, this individual has been radicalised in the United Kingdom. They have no links to Bangladesh at all. Well, in this case, it is our problem, because they've been radicalised in this country, and on that basis, I would say the presumption should be for all foreign fighters to go back to their countries of origin and face trial.
But overwhelmingly, and I think YouGov did some polling today, people are in favour of this decision that the Home Secretary has taken.
Well, I would say people may be in favour, but when you're in politics, you have to make the right decision rather than just simply do what those who shout the loudest. I've never done that in politics. I have a huge amount of respect for the Secretary of State, but also I have a great respect and also for our country, what it stands for, rule of law, an international rule of law, and on that basis, do the right thing rather than appeal to those who shout the loudest.
So why has the Secretary of State done this? Because some have suggested it's part of a leadership bid, and perhaps he in particular needs to prove that he's draconian on security because he comes from an immigrant background.
Well, I think at the end of the day you have to ask him that. When he appears before the Home Affairs Select Committee, I'll ask him that question. But I think what I've seen quite clearly is, I used to be a lawyer before I did this job. We have to do the right thing, and sometimes it may be, not be popular, but the United Kingdom stands for the rule of law, and I think on that basis the Home Secretary on this one has got it wrong.